All right, well, let's move on and talk about Shane Del Rosario and Stipe Miocic. Now, Miocic is, what I'm seeing here, minus 155. These are two young, up-and-coming heavyweights, both undefeated, both very strong strikers. I'm thinking that Miocic might just have a little bit of an edge. I'm not sure if minus 155 has any value to it, but I would definitely lean Miocic here. Luca Fury, what do you think? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I do agree with you. I lean towards Miocic for a couple of reasons. One of them is that Shane Del Rosario is coming off a big layoff over a year because he got in that car accident, and that could actually be a help to him, but it could also be a hindrance. It could be a help in that he's a developing prospect, and he might show massive improvement in the time that he's had off. But at the same time, he was in a car crash, and he might not have been able to train all that great, and might have some ring rust when he gets in there. So that could be a help or a hindrance. But as far as what we know about both guys, I would give the boxing edge definitely to Miocic, but Del Rosario is the more well-rounded striker. He has more kicks and knees in his arsenal. But Miocic, one of the things that I think might be key here is his wrestling game. He's a very good wrestler, and I know people are hyping Shane Del Rosario's ground game, but I don't think it's all that good. I mean, yeah, he armbarred LeVar Johnson, but as we know, he has no ground game. And then he submitted Brendan Cash, who also doesn't have much of a ground game. And before that, he was getting controlled on the ground. So I think there's potential for Miocic, even if the striking isn't going very good for him. I think he can get takedowns here and probably grind on Del Rosario. But I do think it's a tough fight either way because, like I said, both guys are improving, and one of them could show massive improvement. I mean, we saw like in the last UFC card with Korean Zombie and Poirier, who expected Korean Zombie to improve that much since his last fight? So there's potential for something like that to happen here. But I do favor Miocic. If he gets down to around minus 140, something like that, I'll probably bet him. But any higher than that, I'm probably going to pass just because this is a close fight.
Okay. Nick, where'd you open this line?
I opened it exactly. Actually, we're 165 and 155. So DSI opener was around 155. So it's staying pretty steady again. And another difficult fight for the public to bet. I mean, it's exactly what Luca said. Shane Del Rosario overall is the more well-rounded fighter, but he is coming off that injury, the layoff, as Luca stated as well. And Stipe hasn't really been tested quite yet. So a lot of people were actually, when I made the line with Gonzaga versus Del Rosario, a lot of people were telling me, you made Del Rosario the favorite? You're crazy. Who has he fought? Who has he beat? Well, in this particular situation, Del Rosario is coming in as the underdog, but Stipe's record's actually a little bit weaker, from top to bottom. So Del Rosario has a little bit more credibility if you look at some of the wins on his record over Stipe's, but these guys are almost at the same point in their career. This is a huge step up for both guys. So whoever comes out on top of this fight is going to be automatically, I think, entered in a title contention picture. They're going to be definitely get a lot of hype and a lot of prospect ability if coming off this win. So it's a very important fight for both guys. I do favor Stipe, though, with the wrestling advantage, like Luca said. And with hands, he is going to have the ability to end the fight. He's got a lot of power behind him. A lot of people can't take the punching power. I've seen a lot of footage on Stipe. I know him very well. And I actually should say this as well. I'm a little biased here because Stipe's an Ohio guy. I'm originally from Ohio as well, so I have friends in the camp in different areas. So I'm going to be pulling for him. It is a difficult fight to bet, though, because I think it's definitely a fight that can go either way. But I'm going to lean towards Stipe here, and I hope he does come through.
Okay, well, what about just a prop on Miocic, to get a knockout in like the first or second round?
I think that might be the way to go because Stipe does have devastating hands. I mean, he's got awesome knockout power. But what worries me as far as decision goes, he can win decision too, but we've seen him fade in the past against Beltran. So in his UFC debut, though. So I know there's octagon jitters. There's a lot more at stake when you're making your debut. But we didn't really get to see him much more of that in the second fight because he ended it so quickly. Right. So I think if it does tend to go 3, maybe Del Rosario has an edge there. And if Stipe fades, it could be a tight decision. But I think Stipe can win by decision, but the best play is probably by knockout, like you said.
All right, great preview. Thanks so much to Luca Fury from MMAoddsbreaker.com, and his Twitter is @GamblingFury. And thanks once again to Nick Kalikas from DSI Sportsbook. Thanks, guys.